and welcome to another episode of Why Did I Buy This? I started this series a few years ago to help my crafters figure out unique ways to use their crafting supplies, but this is also a great series for those of you who are wanting to add to your collection and want to know what is the newest and greatest craft supplies. My name is Lindsay Mann. I am from Edmonton, Alberta, and I have been crafting as a Stampin' Up! Canadian demonstrator for over 22 years. I love to craft and I love sharing ideas with you. As you tune in, be sure to say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're watching the replay, you can let me know that too. And yeah, it's been a beautiful summer so far, and so I am doing is Happy Pool Party Friday, Sharon. I have been a little bit slower with my videos, so the series is going to be quick and easy. Although I say that, and then this card is like a multi-layer card, so maybe not that quick and easy, but today we're just focusing on one project, and it's like a fun, foldy kind of card. You got what I meant from the actions, I'm sure. Forgive me, I have caught a summer cold, and so if I sound a little stuffy, it's because I actually am. But I'm sure that you can live through it. So one of the things that we're going to be working with today is something that's brand new to Stampin' Up, and that is called the Virtual Album Retreat. And if you are not a scrapbooker, do not panic. We're actually making a card today, so don't think that this is just a scrapbooking project. But that's what I wanted to talk about. There's a month-by-month album kit that Stampin' Up! Has put out, and that kit, when you purchase it, your purchase is actually your entry into the virtual retreat. Now, the virtual retreat has been live from July 16th to 18th, but the replays are available. So I personally am not watching it live. The project, the 3 days, each one of the sessions is like 8.5 hours. And so I'm just breaking it up into smaller pieces. I've done 4 of the double layouts so far, and they are stunning. I'll show you the layouts for those of you who haven't heard of this before or are curious about what they look like. I'll show you what those are, but what we're going to be talking about today is you may not know that in this kit, this month-by-month album kit, there were 4 stamp sets included, and they are amazing stamp sets. So we're going to use those stamp sets to make a card today. Haha, I know. So before I do the awkward transition, I just was curious. Give me a thumbs up if you are a scrapbooker. In the comments, let me know if you are participating in the virtual album retreat. You can let me know if you are or if you aren't. And there are still kits available. So if you wanted to participate, you still have the opportunity. So maybe I'll convince you today when you see the great stamp sets that are exclusive to this kit. Okay, I'm gonna do the awkward transition. Go ahead and comment below if you are going to be participating in that retreat. Okay, sorry, I have to do that really quick, and I'm sure that I just made you all go, whoa. Okay, I'm gonna get this all set up here. Okay, lovely. Okay, so like I mentioned, there are 4 stamp sets that are included in this, and it comes with an alphabet set that's a really nice size. It comes with this set here that has numbers as well as like different labels and shapes that you can use. It comes with different seasons, of course, that's great for scrapbooking. And then it also comes with all of these shapes here. And we've been using them on the pages. Let me show you what those look like. So the album comes with page protectors, which is so great. So here you can see is January, and you can see there's that beautiful label. It comes with these almost chipboard titles, and you can see here's the double layout, and there's these great tags that you can pull out. I obviously haven't added my photos to it yet. And then February looks like this, and so you can see we've got places that are placeholders for our photos, and here you can see is this great little fold out element to that page. Here you can see is March, and we've numbered where we're going to put our photos in so that you can do your journaling here. And the second page to that. And then the final page that I've finished, I haven't finished everything yet, is this. So here you can see is June. And so June has these little flip flaps that you can add extra photos to, which is so great. Yeah, really fun. I've been having a great time. You can actually craft right along. So there's no, through the magic of television situations, it's all done so that you can actually craft at the same pace that they are working. So what I wanted to do today is show you how I'm going to be playing with my stamp sets, because once the project is finished, we still have all these great sets that we can then use. Okay, so let's get started on the project. I'm going to bring in a piece of basic white cardstock, and that is cut at 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 inches. And I'm going to show you a fun technique. It's kind of a reveal technique, so stay with me here. Now I'm going to bring in some bright and fun colors. So I've got Real Red, I have Lemon Lolly, and I have Coastal Cabana. So these, my Coastal Cabana was hanging out with my memento. These are not my usual colors. If you've been watching for a while, you'll recognize I actually almost never use red, and somebody called me out on it once, and I was like, I don't really, it's not a color I reach for very often. So I felt like it was a good color to grab. It's nice and bright and celebratory, and this is going to be a celebratory card. So I'm going to bring in my blending brush. And we're going to do some blending. So I'm going to use the Real Red, and I'm going to go right on top of my cardstock and just create a little red blob. This will make sense here as we get to our technique. Okay, I'm going to move that aside, and then we're going to bring in Coastal Cabana. So with my blending brush, again, pick that up, and then we're going to do this little blobby thing over here. Okay, and you'll notice I'm not being overly exact, and that's because for this technique it doesn't matter. And then we're going to do Lemon Lolly, and that is going to go here in this corner. How's your summer been, friends? Are you getting time in your craft room, playing with your supplies? It's okay if you don't. In Canada, our summers are so short that you need to get outside as much as possible. So I've been trying to show you things that are a little bit on the simpler side, so that if you don't have time to be crafting, then you can at least just do a little bit in the evenings. Okay, so I'm just drying the ink, just giving it a blast of heat here. And then I'm going to use my, what is this called? This little beanbaggy thing that takes away the moisture, any leftover ink, because we're going to be doing some heat embossing. And so I want to make sure that the ink is only going to stick in the places that I want it to. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to bring in my first stamp from this month by month collection, and that's this little starburst thing. And we are going to create some fireworks. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that over top of each one of the colors, just like that. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in this little tiny starburst one, and we're going to do some little filler pieces. So this will be like the little sparkles that come off of the fireworks when they're in the sky. Okay, we have a couple around the edges like that. And then we're going to pour on some clear embossing powder. So this is from the Neutrals collection, the Wow embossing powder. And so we will just tap off any of the excess powder, and then we're going to do some melting. So this is going to be done with our heat tool. This heat tool gets very, very hot. It's hot like an oven, so it can't be done with a hairdryer. This is just much, much hotter. So you can see as it melts, it gets shiny, which is kind of fun. So we're gonna make sure that that's all melted because we're going to be adding another layer here soon. Here in Canada, we celebrated Canada Day on July 1st. And in the US, I know you celebrated Independence Day on July 4th. This would be a fun card to kind of fall within those little celebrations. I went to Ottawa recently, which is Canada's capital, and I spent some time with my daughter who's living there for the summer, and that was really cool. I've never been before. I don't know if you've been to Ottawa before, but it's very beautiful. Okay, I'm bringing in a brayer, and this brayer has two sides to it. You'll notice these little pegs here. Those are designed so that you can set it on your table and not have ink transfer onto your table. But when you're playing with it, you need to make sure that these pegs are up because you don't want it to catch while you're rolling. Okay, so the key to using a brayer is to roll it in the same direction. So instead of doing this, which only does the bottom, it'll only ink up the bottom side, you need to just keep rolling it in the same direction like a tire. And then we're going to do the same thing over our paper. We're gonna roll it in the same direction like a tire. Oh, my brayer is falling apart here. Let me just get it back in place. It's designed like that so that you can clean it. Mine's saying, please help me, clean me. Okay, so we're gonna keep adding ink over top of where we've laid down that embossing powder. And this is just step one of this technique. We're going to do some things to like smooth out the look to it. So once we've laid down a little bit of ink, we're going to bring in a blending brush and pick up the black. And then we're gonna go over top of those detailed images, and that's going to help fill in the nooks and crannies. Okay, you can see my embossing powder kind of sprayed over, but that's okay. It kind of gives that look of when a firework kind of has that sparkly burst to it. So we're going to go over top of the corner here and just sort of fill in any of that texture that we have that we don't want to see. We want it to be smoothed out. Okay. Look at how fun that is. So you can see why I called this a reveal technique. It has a name. I'm trying to think of what it is. Is it called magic? I don't remember. If you know the name of it, you can throw it in the comments. So here you can see we've got that fun sort of firework display. Okay, so now let's start to assemble. I promise you, I'm just gonna wipe my fingers here because of course, inky thumbs. We've always got inky thumbs happening, don't we? Okay, so let me go ahead and start to put this together. Now I wanted to give it sort of a regal and like celebratory feel, so I wanted to bring in gold. And so I brought in a piece of gold foil to layer. Now, I wanted to layer like this, but this is kind of an expensive paper to just have such a large slab of it put behind. So I used my stylish shapes to cut out a big square. And so I can toss this aside and use it on another project another time. And so now we can just go ahead and cover up that hole and nobody is going to be the wiser. So it just helps you save a little bit of paper. I know you appreciate that too. Okay, now I promised you a fun fold. So I'm going to bring in a piece of Coastal Cabana to coordinate with one of our fireworks. And I will use my bone folder to give our card a nice press. And then I'm going to bring in another card, and this is just your standard 8.5 by 11. And we're going to fold that up and give that a press too. Okay, so here is how this is going to work. We actually want the card to be opening the wrong way. And then this is going to layer inside the card like this. And then that's going to give us this kind of folding technique, okay? I feel like I cut this differently than I did the other one. Let's see if this is gonna fit on here. Oh, it is. I don't know what's happening. Maybe my red is a little bigger. That's okay. You'll see what I mean here in a sec. So I'm going to go ahead and add this on top of here. And then this is going to be stuck inside. So I'm going to add adhesive to the back. And this is going to go, I'm going to line up the edge of the card here with this line. Just like so. So this is going to go boop, boop, and then you're going to have your writing inside there, right? Now I wanted to add my focal point onto my fireworks. And so I brought in a new product. This is just being released. And these are cello bags. They're called the iridescent treat bags. They're part of a Halloween collection, but the iridescent treat bags, there's nothing Halloween-y about them. It's just they have this really fun iridescent shimmer to it, and you can throw a treat inside. This would be great for party favors, or you could throw a little Ready Shreddy in there with a gift card. I love treat bags. I think that they're so versatile. But I'm using mine today not as a treat bag, but as a layer. So I brought in my stylish shapes circle, and I cut out a circle from the bag. And here we've got this great layer. So we can just put that on there to create that iridescent layer onto our circle, onto our card front. Now I'll bring in a piece of lemon lolly, and this is the, again, to tie in with our other firework. And I have a label. Here it is. So I've got this label. This is from the month by month stamp set collection. So we'll give that a good stamp like so. And then we're going to bring in Celebrate, which is also from the same stamp set. Again, appropriate for a nation's capital celebratory card. And then we can use our scissors to fussy cut this out. How many of you like to cut things out? I used to be in the no category for that, but I've recently developed patience for cutting things out. And I like a layer that's got a nice, like a stamped image that's closely trimmed. Oh, that was it's a little bit harder to do on video because I can't quite get over top of it the way that I can see the best. Okay, so we're gonna go straight along there and then bring that along here. I'm going quickly. You're gonna take your time when you make yours. Okay. And then last bit, bring that in like so. Okay. We're gonna get this little notch off too. Okay, so then this is going to go on top of here. Now, the kicker with working with something like this cello bag is you want to be mindful about where your adhesive goes. I'm just going to stick an edge piece from my dimensionals on there. And then you can use, I'm going to use Seal Plus, which is our extra sticky double-sided tape. And then we're going to stick that on just like so. Now, another thing from the Halloween collection that I really love are these stars. So these are called the Shimmer Star foam stickers. It's kind of like if you had an embellishment that was a Stampin' Dimensional with glitter. It's got that same kind of foam texture as a dimensional. And so these little black stars just seemed perfect to add to our night sky. And so I'm going to just use a little pokey tool here to grab my stars. So we're going to add a couple here and down here. Maybe one more. Beautiful. Okay. And then I also wanted to bring in a piece of textured paper. So I wanted to use the marbled folder. And so this is going to go, oh yeah, I can see now where my mistake is because I cut this to size. This card is just a little bit wider than I normally do, but that's okay. So here we've got that texture that's going to show behind. So I'm just going to skip ahead and show you the finished card so that we can walk through the last steps. So this is what it looks like when it's finished. So here you can see we've got our label added over top of our little iridescent cello bag. You open it up and it says celebrate what matters most. And I loved with the marbled folder that I could bring in the paper that coordinates with that. We have that marbled paper from our online exclusive. So here you can see you can write messages. You could put a photo in here. It's just a really cute way to be able to use the stamp sets that you got with that month by month album retreat. So I hope that you've really enjoyed seeing a little like thinking outside the box moment with our scrapbooking online exclusive retreat. And I hope you'll join me for that virtual album retreat. It's been so much fun so far. Like I said, I'm taking it slow. I'm not working through it exactly day by day. The replays are there and it's all through a Facebook group. And so it's really, really easy to be able to participate at your own pace, which I love. Okay, my friends, have an amazing weekend. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.